Hi guys, here's the office. This is where it's all done. We had a chat a few days ago. I just want to speak a bit further on that. Let me just sit down, make myself nice and comfortable. I think that should do it. Yeah, we spoke a few days ago, telling me about my life here and my books, and I'm just trying to promote the books a bit. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to give you a little excerpt, a little taster of the two books. Maybe if you listen to what I read out to you, you might it might give you a little taster, and you may make you go out and buy them. The first book, as you know, is called Jules Sunshine on a Rainy Day. Just to give you a brief summary before I start reading. Jules had been an alcoholic for a few years before she had met me. It wasn't me that turned her into an alcoholic, I can assure you. I did everything I could to stop her being an alcoholic. But she'd had treatment at some of the well-known rehabilitation hospitals or clinics or whatever you call them in London. I think she'd been there twice. And they worked to a certain extent, but she went back to normal again. But what we had done, we had arranged, it's a home visit, a home detox, and it's free. She was very nervous before this, but anyway, listen to my excerpt. This is book one. This is just a little excerpt from book one. So let's have a listen. Let's put my glasses on because I'm as blind as a bat reading, so just bear with me. I know I won't look my normal super handsome self, but you're going to have to live with that. Anyway, listen to this. This is an excerpt from the book. The day of the treatment was strange, as we didn't know what to expect. Jules had had treatment before at top clinics and had paid a lot of money, where everybody is nice to you. She was worried about this because it was free, and a lot of people think alcoholics are drunks and public money should not be spent on them. The door knocked about 9 a.m. and a nurse and a social worker who specialises in dependency arrived. All our fears were soon gone, as these two ladies were amazing. They were non-judgmental, very sincere and caring. Withdrawal from alcohol is very serious and can be dangerous and has to be dealt with experience and care. Hence earlier I said, you can't stop an alcoholic from drinking on day one. They have to have some alcohol or they could go into seizure and die. The nurse came every day for about 4 days, twice a day, morning and afternoon, and administered a weaning off drug set at different levels during the week, which probably was something like, right, I don't know how to pronounce this word because it's a great long drug name. It's something like Chirodiox Poxide, something like that. I can't pronounce it. Bloody great long stupid word. I seem to remember. They took blood pressure and temperature, and they talked about any problems she might have, even down to a good diet. They didn't rush her, and they gave her all the time she needed. I couldn't fault them. They were fantastic ladies. The treatment went well, and the drugs did their job, and Jules suffered no ill effects during the treatment and came out of it quite well. She seemed to be back to herself for a week or so, in which time her social worker called in occasionally to check her progress. I started to trust her, and as she said she had no desire to drink, and I believed her. I was making her nice alcoholic fruit cocktails to give her something nice and tasty, healthy and interesting to drink. I didn't want her to get bored with water or squash. This was the advice from the nurse. And all seemed to be going well, until I was at work and she called me to say an old friend Sam who was a greenkeeper at one of the local golf clubs in Kent. He'd asked her out to lunch. I think he'd always had a soft spot for her, but she was never interested in him like that. And I said, okay, no worries, be good. I said, don't be tempted to drink. She said, don't worry, I promise, I will never do again. I felt very proud of her. I got home from work about 4 p.m. and Jules was on the sofa alone. But she looked up at me and she had those hooded eyes on. At that moment, my world fell apart. It transpires that at lunch she kept on turning down drinks from him. And he kept saying, oh, one won't hurt. And in the end, she gave in. One is all it takes. So we were back to square one. That shit who took her out to lunch certainly got the backlash of my tongue. He didn't know the trouble and the damage he had caused to my Jules. It seemed harder to go back to square one than it was before, because I thought we'd conquered it, but we were now as far away as ever. Terrible feeling when you go through, that's it, handsome again. It was a terrible feeling when, in my eyes, we'd conquered it and it all seemed to be going well and she seemed bright. Why do people do things like that? Why do they force you to have drinks when you don't want them? Well, she wanted it, I'm sure, and he went on and on and on about having this drink. One won't harm. That's all it takes. Once an alcoholic has tasted the alcohol, that's it. It's like lighting the fuse. So that was terrible, horrible. I never forgave that man. That's not his real name, Sam. But that hurt. But anyway, that's a little snippet from that book. That's one of the sort of sadder moments. There are a lot of amusing ones. Book 2 is My Life in Thailand, and the snippet I'm going to read you now is my first day there. And a friend of mine, purely by chance, an old Thai girlfriend from years ago, Rung, happened to be visiting her parents or her mother in Thailand when I was going. It was just pure chance. Believe me, that's true. And when she heard I was going, I think she was arriving 2 or 3 days before me, and she said, well, if you like, she said, I'll wait for you in Bangkok, and then I can. She said it's a bit daunting at the airport, it's a bit scary, all the taxi drivers are all jumping all over you and scaring the life out of you. She said, I'll wait for you, and when you arrive I'll meet you at the airport. I thought, yeah, that's great, I'd love that, that'd be really good. And she was there with her sister, and they'd booked her like a cheap hotel just on the outskirts of Bangkok, and we were going to stay there for a couple of nights before we moved on to Pattaya, which is where I was going to stay. I hadn't got any hotels booked. I don't like doing things like that. I like to do my own thing. I don't like package holidays or anything like that. But anyway, we'd gone back. We'd got a taxi back to the hotel, and her sister was staying in the room next door. I was staying with Rung. She was an ex-girlfriend, so we'd been there before. Not a problem. But anyway, we went out that night, and she showed me around the ping pong bars and all that sort of thing, which I must admit I find it. Once you've seen it, you've seen it. It's boring. It's not even sexy in my view. But anyway, we ended up after the ping pong show in a place called Pat Pong, I think it's called, in Bangkok. We'd got a taxi there, and which was about a 20-30 minute taxi ride, I seem to remember. And her sister came with us, her sister, who looked just like Rung, funnily enough. She was a little bit younger, about 5 years younger. And after the ping pong show, we just had a little wander around the market. But anyway, this is an extract from, this book is called Siam, Getting Past My Past. This is quite a long book. This book's got quite a few pictures in it, like photographs that I took, which is quite good. It sort of backs up sort of a lot of the things that I write about, and it's quite nice to sort of see the pictures of it, so you can see who I'm talking about. I might have changed. I've changed a few names and things in there, but every single thing I've written in both books, every single thing I've written is 100% true. 100% true. And any of my friends and photographs back up a lot of it anyway. But anyway, this is an excerpt from book 2. It's funny reading your own book. After a wander around the very interesting food markets, watching all the types of food being cooked, I was tired now, and Rung hailed one of the thousands of taxis to take us back to the hotel. Well, this taxi driver thought he was Michael Schumacher. He was going so fast at one point, we went over onto 2 wheels as we went round the corner. Rung shouted at him, "Cha-cha!" means slow down or slow. He did, for about 5 minutes, but eventually went back to auditioning for Death Race 2000 until we arrived back at Hotel Shabby. I called it, unquote, I called it Hotel Shabby because everything in it was worn out, shabby, bit dirty, cheap. But anyway, that was my nickname for it, Hotel Shabby. I can't remember the real name of it. Anyway, we arrived back at Hotel Shabby. Back to the book again. As tired as I was, I still managed to get a couple of sessions in, eventually, before flaking out and sleeping right through the night. We were meeting up with some of Rung's family, who were taking us to Pattaya in their truck. I had to pay for the hotel first. Rung, the cheeky fucking mayor, had stayed there for 3 days before I had arrived and kindly let me pay for it. 2 rooms for 4 days, over 5,000 baht, over £100. Yeah, didn't see that one coming. Rung, Mai and myself clambered into this old van with side windows, which seated about 10 people. It was filled with aunts, uncles, kids, and anyone else you care to mention. I'm sure they were there also. It was about a 3-hour journey in that slow old van, but I just took on the sights, the smells, the scenery, and I actually enjoyed every minute. The auntie worked as a chambermaid in the Markland Hotel on Beach Road, Pattaya, and that was where we were going. So that was our destination. As we drove through Pattaya, I was very excited. We drove around the Dolphin Roundabout and hit the road that leads onto Beach Road. I could see the sea and all the palm trees. The sea looked spectacular, with all the boats and paragliders and the burning sun shining off the sea. I had arrived. I said to Rung, "What is this sea called here?" Thinking she'd say something like the Bay of Pattaya or the Gulf of Bangkok or something like that. But she said, "Sea. It's called the sea." When you get to know the Thais, you realise that that is a typical reply from a Thai. We stopped outside this rather lovely hotel right on Beach Road and checked in. It was quite expensive at 1,800 baht a night, £32-ish. The price of a normal hotel in Pattaya is half that, but we did get a voucher for a free spa and massage. As luck would have it, Sister Maya went to stay at Auntie's house in Pattaya. The room was the size of a small garden centre. The bed must have been 8 foot across, but that even looked dwarfed in this huge room. It had a beautiful bathroom and balcony that looked directly out to the sea. It was lunchtime now, so we found a little restaurant just along Beach Road and 5 minutes from the hotel. We ate a nice refreshing salad and decided to go back and take advantage of our free spa session. I'd never had a Thai massage before. Whoops, I've just flicked on a few more pages that I should have done there. Bear with me. Here we go. I'd never had a Thai massage before and was going to have an experience I would never forget, but not in that way. I didn't want the steam, too bloody hot for that. I just thought I'd settle for the Thai massage. I was made to undress and put on these thin cotton grey pyjamas. Room was lying next to me wearing the same. Well, I was bent, twisted, stretched, pulled and pummelled, and generally tortured for over an hour. I was waiting for the hot poker up the bum just to finish off the painful session. Mind you, strangely enough, I did feel great afterwards, but I never did have a Thai massage again. Oh dear, that was my first day. I thought they were going to beat me to death, or my first few days. The Thai massage, it's not, there's no touching bare skin or anything like that. It's manipulation. This is not in the book, by the way. This is me talking now. It's just manipulation. They put on these little thin pyjama type things. Oh, and they bend your legs and they twist you, and you think they're going to break your neck. They actually click all your neck and everything like that. And at the time, it's so painful. My God, it really hurts. They don't care. They've probably sort of heard these people scream and shout 1,000 times. But after they finished, you do feel good. You do actually feel really enlightened. Your head, where normally your head, when you're tired, your head can feel really heavy sometimes on your shoulders. My head felt like a balloon. In the fact, not like a balloon, in the fact that it felt so light on my shoulders, and there was no that scrunchy noise you get in your neck sometimes, when you sit in a chair or whatever. So very, very good, very good, and it was free, of course. That was even better. Normally it would cost about 300 baht, which is about £7 for an hour, which is like nothing really, is it? It's very, very cheap. But that was good. But anyway, that's a couple of little excerpts from the book. As I say, there's a lot of pictures and things to back it up. I was telling you about the size of this hotel room. In the book, you'll see the pictures of it. Bloody great big room. You could have had a bloody party in it. I thought about it a few times. And this huge great bed out here, like the bed at our house. That's huge. They do tend to like really big beds out here. We've got one here at home. Bloody great big thing. About 7 or 8 foot across. Lovely. I have to shout at Mimi in the morning to wake her up. You gonna get out of bed or what? And she'll shout back, oh, okay, cookie boy. But yeah, it's good. Anyway, that's a couple of little excerpts. I thought I'd just give you a little taste, see what you think. And again, don't forget, this is on Amazon Kindle. Just download the app. Just a few pounds for the book. The first one, as I say, is I said before, is under £4. The second one is a bit more. I think that's around about £5.50, something like that. So they're very cheap, but they're good reads. Make you smile, make you laugh, and a lot of things. The Thais are unbelievable people. They do the most strangest, peculiarest, funniest of things. They say the most funniest of things. The way they think, their ideas are just unbelievable. Sometimes like small children, their logic and that sort of thing. You can never change their mind. If they've got an idea, if a Thai has got an idea in his head, nothing will change it. You could prove with everything in the world, and they wouldn't change their mind. Once their idea's in their head, they're right, when they're obviously completely and utterly wrong. But I've mentioned this in the book. I've mentioned some examples and things like that. So very funny, but very bloody annoying sometimes. When you can't get your, if you're having an argument, which you do a lot with Thais, they can be very argumentative people because they always think they're right. And they can't be, because I'm right. The only time I'm not right is when I'm wrong. But yeah, very funny. But anyway, read it. and let me know what you think. Okay? You take care now. Cheers. Bye bye now.